Hello everybody and welcome to the GrimCast. I'm your host Death and Grim. In today's show we're going to be doing something special. Instead of one game to review, we have two. Two games that I felt on their own were relatively short, but however they both deserve a review. And rather than taking up one episode to review each, I'd rather put them in the same cast to show them both off in their unique aspect. The first game we're going to be reviewing is a game called Glowfly by independent developer Spiral23. The next game we will be reviewing is a trading card game based off the popular Triple Triad game from Final Fantasy VIII named Animus by independent developer Homunculus. Let's get down to the concepts. The concept of both games is that they're pick up and play. First off is Glowfly. The concept of this game is that it's a puzzle game in which you guide a little fairy-like creature to the exit point inside a level. You do this by putting various blocks of different directions and shapes in front of its path to make it ricochet off the block and possibly reach more goals throughout the level, but the main goal is to reach the finish point in the level. While the concept of Animus is it's a card game that you have to score points by flipping other cards over using values. There's a physical value, a defense value, a magic value, and a magic defense value. And you battle AI or a human opponent. And with Glowfly, the game is pulled off quite nicely. The puzzles are very straightforward, and many things are very visual and very noticeable throughout the level, and it only intends to trick you maybe about 60% of the time. The concept is also pulled off pretty well in Animus. It immerses you pretty well. It encourages you to get better. Even facing the AI opponents actually feels like a challenge, and getting better at the game feels like you're actually working towards it. Rather than collecting the most powerful cards, you also have to learn the rules and the balance of the game. Okay, so both games pulled off their concepts very well. Now let's check on the story. Alright, so I can't lie to you guys. There's not much story to be found here. But they're both pick up and play games, so honestly you shouldn't be picking them up for just a story. Let's check on how they play. Ah yes, my favorite, the gameplay of games. The blood and the organs. Let's get down to dissecting Glowfly by its own merits. Glowfly is as solid as it can be, with gameplay that speaks for itself. Levels grow diverse and challenging with each passing stage, so you'll never be too bored at anything that it throws at you. What does bug me is the length of the game. It's just a tad bit short. Just when you think you're getting immersed in the game, bam, it ends. And this is one of my pet peeves with some pick up and play games. It doesn't give you enough content. Now let's get on to Animus, a possibly even shorter game because it doesn't even have a length. Alright, so I'm going to try to explain Animus as simply as I possibly can. Animus is complicated. In your deck, you have cards with monsters that possibly look like they could be taken out of RPG Maker, but they're hand-drawn, so kudos to the artist. And on each of these cards is 4 numbers. The first number is your physical attack. Your second number represents your physical defense. Your third number represents your magical attack. Your fourth number represents your magical defense. Orange arrows on the card will represent your physical attacks, while blue arrows on the card will represent your magical attacks. To pull off said attack, you must place a card adjacent to another card and have an arrow pointing to the card. If the arrow with the stat is higher than the defense of the stat for your offense, then the card will be flipped and the card is yours. So the gameplay is reminiscent of reversing. And the defense of the cards is pulled off as following. If there's an arrow pointing in a direction, then your card can defend in that direction. So this means that if your card doesn't have an arrow in a certain direction and another card does, it doesn't matter what stat they have. They'll get flipped. This obviously leads to frustrating losses due to the fact that the cards can attack in several different directions. Unlike the original triple triad where the directions were only up, down, left, right, these cards can attack diagonally as well. So defense of your cards is really, really, really confusing considering the fact that most cards are lacking all arrows in all directions. So it's a real toss-up on whether you're going to win or not, and it doesn't really feel like it's based on skill. The system itself is well constructed, but however, I feel the diagonal moves rather ruin the experience. And you see, here's where my problem comes in with this. Cards that are even the same have different arrows for attacks, and the different arrows are different colors at the same time. So this means that one card is essentially better than another, even though it's the exact same card, in the same situation. As well as the diagonal arrows, once again, I say ruin the experience, because it makes it so defense is almost impossible due to the fact that all cards do not have arrows in all directions. This cuts strategic planning down with a flaming chainsaw as you desperately try to win a match against the AI that seems to know everything about the game. I want to say the game is solid, but however, due to the diagonals being some of the most dominant in the game, it really doesn't encourage strategic planning, more like praying that you get the right card at the right moment. Graphics and sound. Alright, both games have a unique look and they're both pulled off nice enough. The character models in Glowfly are well represented and nicely drawn, and the one gripe that I do have with the graphics of Glowfly is once you've seen one level, you've seen them all. You see blocks, blocks, brown blocks, wooden blocks, golden blocks, spike blocks. There you go, you've seen them all. Look at Kuroshi if you really want to look at something similar. Same with Animus. The graphics are, you've seen one, you've seen them all. Although the monster designs are really nice and it looks like the artist took a lot of time to draw them, the cards generally don't have any personality, so they're just pretty pictures on cards. Honestly, that's not a complaint, but I wish they at least had some names. The level design is nice because the board is nice, and the little crack blocks look like crack blocks. There's nothing really too much special here, nothing spectacular, but it's nothing bad. Alright, on to the sound. So, for those of you who watch my Gameplay With series and see my preview of Glowfly, you'll know my one gripe with this game is the sound. The sound gets rather annoying really fast. The song is interesting enough for the first two playthroughs, but then after the third one it just gets rather irritating as the xylophone plays in your ear over and over and over. And it gets spookier after the fourth time. And then after the fifth playthrough you're just wondering, okay, so should I play this game on mute? Here's my answer to that. Yes. If you want to keep your sanity, yes. Play this game on mute. There's nothing else special to be heard other than a couple of bings and tings and a couple of rings. Play this game on mute. In stark contrast, Animus has one of my favorite sound designs thus far in my reviews. Its sound design in the player matches has 7 different songs and each one is a joy to listen to. And they don't get old because they shuffle. So, thankfully Animus gives you something nice to listen to while you fumble with your cards and lose inevitably to the computer. So overall, I liked both Glowfly and Animus. They both have good points and they both have their bad points. Glowfly's gameplay is very solid as well as its level design, and they're both very well executed. Meanwhile, the game's length leaves more to be desired, and the sound design makes you want to get into the hobby of putting earwigs in your ears. While Animus' design is pulled off rather clumsily due to the fact that there's way too much to manage and far less time to manage it. The game's flow is highly interrupted by you trying to calculate what goes where to attack, where to defend, and it just makes the flow move like a river of bricks. Well, however, the sound design and the level design is very nice, and it gives something to actually marvel at. So here are the final ratings. Fly Glowfly earns an 8 herniated eardrums out of 10. Due to its gameplay being solid and its level design being solid, despite its length and sound design, it actually gives you something to go back for and many different ways to complete levels, adding much replay value. While Animus earns a 6 RPG Maker Monsters out of 10. Due to clumsy gameplay decisions, however, the soundtrack is very nice. Now don't get me wrong, I do like Animus, and it's one of my still recent played games that I play currently. But however, I just feel that the gameplay is just far too confusing and way too much managing to possibly play smoothly through one round. But it's a nice game if you like a card version of chess. As always, thanks guys for watching the cast. I'd like to give a quick shout out before I end this video. I'd like to give a shout out to IndieGraph, your place for indie game news, for posting my videos. You guys should definitely take a look. This place has tons of information. If you are really trying to look into the indie game crowd, look to my show and look to this website. Alright guys, as always, love you all. Thank you for watching this episode, and peace. Hey guys, how'd you like the cast? I bet you're wondering exactly why this cast was so weird today and why you did not get to see my face. Well, I'm making creative changes to the cast right now, and the creative changes I wanted to make are not currently 100%, and I didn't want this cast to be the same as the last two. So as I'm striving toward newer and creative things, I decided why not give them more of a taste of what's to come. The Reaper will be part of the cast in the future, but this is just an idea that I decided to try for this episode. Anyways, I'd also like to give a thank you to Kevin MacLeod for Incompetech at incompetech.com for giving me the music for this episode. Royalty-free music. If you guys need music for your games that doesn't require a royalty, please check out this website. It's absolutely gorgeous. All the links that link to everything that's in this cast are down below. And I'd like to thank you all once more for watching this cast. And I'm out of here. The Shogun has spoken.